today we're talking about a certain filter that we don't recommend getting, and here's why. Today we're talking filters, and we're talking about why the replacement filter cartridges are not the best filters for your aquarium, and here's why. Filter cartridges aren't great for your aquarium for a multitude of reasons. One being that when you have a filter that's hanging on the back of your aquarium and it only has a single or double filter cartridges in the back of it, that good bacteria that you're putting in your aquarium is growing on that cartridge because that's the space for it to grow. But then they tell you to replace it once a month. So you take that filter cartridge out along with all your good bacteria and then you throw it away. So all that good bacteria is now gone and the tank may get a spike in ammonia or nitrite, kind of like it just is having another mini cycle every month, every time you take out that filter cartridge. And this could be typically more common if you have a little bit more heavily stocked aquarium, because good bacteria does also grow in your substrate and on your decorations. So if you have a very lightly stocked aquarium, you may have never noticed an issue because bacteria that's on that cartridge wasn't too much to cause a spike in ammonia. But if you have a heavily stocked tank and every month you're taking out those cartridges and throwing them away, that goes a lot of your really good bacteria, and your filter can no longer handle the amount of waste your fish are producing until the new filter builds up good bacteria again. So it becomes a running cycle every month. You may be losing good bacteria, and that's not beneficial to you or your aquarium. Another reason why these cartridges aren't the best is because they typically are filled with low quality carbon, and carbon really isn't super necessary in your aquarium unless you're trying to remove odors or you're trying to remove any type of chemicals that you may have added to the aquarium, such as medication. Otherwise, you don't need to run carbon full time all of the time. So a lot of these cartridge filters are sort of just meant for you to spend more money when you don't have to. So we'll talk about some of the filters we have that would be much more useful in your aquarium and that will save you money in the long run. If you like the style of a hang-on back filter, we have this amazing Seekonk filter with a C-shape pump, and this filter is fantastic because it doesn't have cartridges. It's meant for your good bacteria to grow and to colonize and to do its job. Biological filtration is the best form of filtration you can have, and it also does offer the availability to do mechanical filtration as well. And if you needed to do chemical filtration, that's an option too, as it has space for you to add a bag of carbon or phosphate reducing resin in it if you needed to. So in the Seekonk filter here, we've got your back chamber. And right in this basket, we have a bag of porous media. This is your biological media. This is where a lot of your good bacteria will grow and colonize. And this is something you're never going to replace. So it lives in this filter basically forever. Once in a while, you'll take it out and you rinse it in your established aquarium water when you do a water change, and then you'll put it right back in. You don't have to throw it away or rinse it in the sink. Underneath that, we have our blue sponge here. So this is really good for both biological and mechanical filtration. This will pull out any bigger particles and good bacteria will grow on it. This will last in here for a few months. This one can be replaced as over time it may start to fall apart, but that's why we have these in here where you're still gonna have a very good buildup of good bacteria, so that replacing this won't be a big deal. And if you see here, it's got a lot of space additional where you could fit carbon if you needed to run carbon for whatever reason, or if you wanted to add a phosphate reducing resin, this will be fantastic for that without having to take cartridges and change them every month. If you have a larger aquarium, a canister filter may be a better option for you. So right here I have the Fluval FX6, and this canister is fantastic. It's definitely one of the best canisters for large aquariums. If you have a very heavily stocked African cichlid tank, or if you have South American cichlids or anything, or say you just have a tank full of community fish and you just want really good filtration, this filter is fantastic for that. Inside of here is tons of media space, biological media. So there's lots of sponges and ceramic media that will help with that good bacteria to grow and to colonize. And there's no cartridges. You don't have to take cartridges out and throw them away. The only maintenance you're going to be doing is occasionally rinsing those sponges in aquarium water and putting them back in. Nice and easy, and you don't have to worry about wasting carbon cartridges and spending money on them unnecessarily. One of the best and most simplest and cost-effective filters that we have are sponge filters. Sponge filters are fantastic. It's actually all we use in all of our fish for sale aquariums because they're simple. The way a sponge filter works is you use an air pump that pumps air down into the sponge, and this creates a vacuum that pulls water through the sponge. and it acts as a mechanical filter because it's pulling out free-floating particles, and it's super porous, so all that good bacteria will colonize within the sponge and be super beneficial for your aquarium by filtering it and keeping ammonia and nitrate completely gone. All you have to simply do with a sponge filter is when you do a water change once a month, I highly suggest taking the clear tube off here and the air tube out and squeezing the filter in your dirty aquarium water to rinse it and then put it back into the aquarium. You never want to rinse it in your sink because you'll kill all that good bacteria that we're trying to grow. Super easy, super effective, and they keep the water crystal clear and your fish happy. Sponge filters also add lots of oxygen to the tank, which is always beneficial as well. So to wrap things up, we want to make sure that we're getting a filter that has much more biological filtration rather than chemical filtration, as it is usually much more important. Chemical filtration is great when it's needed. The biological filter is what keeps your fish alive, happy, and healthy. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Ocean State Aquatics TV with me, Salty Allie, and you know what to do. Keep it salty, baby.